Okay, there was already holes down in the bottom of this bed that were put on here previously by somebody else to mount this, and they had a piece of angle iron in there and some shims because they dropped them too low, and then this piece of angle iron was bolted to it. This is what was actually part of that big giant frame that was on here. I'm going to clean this up a little bit. I'll probably end up cutting this off a little bit right here, but I'll clean all this up. I didn't want to put any more holes in the bed, so I'm going with what's there. Now I've taken some 1/4 inch angle iron and utilized the holes that were up here, threaded holes that were up here, and I've used this 1/4 inch 3/16 thick wall tubing, 1¼ inch by 1¼ square tubing, 3/16 of an inch thick, to bring these up. Now I'm going to bring up 2 more pieces, make a top to it, and then I'm going to make a swing carriage that will have adjuster screws that will hit down on here that will enable me to swing this back, swinging that secondary drum, tightening this belt. And then down on the bottom down here I will have that 5 horsepower 3-phase motor, and I'll make it adjust down to tension that belt there. So that's where we are so far. I need to get my uprights here, cut all this stuff, and I need to get this stuff tacked together and figure out where to go from there. Well, this is what it was going to look like. Tensioner right here to tighten this down. The bolts here to be able to run this in and out. It's in as far as it'll go right now. It'll come out about another 4 inches. I tried to hold this thing up here and get a measurement of it, and when I did, this back threading gear, I don't know if you can see that or not, I didn't have this in here. So I tried to guesstimate when I was holding it up here whether that belt would run around it or not. Now that I've got it tacked and everything set up in here, if I put my tape measure across the bottom of this bottom pulley right here, I end up lacking about 4 inches before I'm going to hit this pulley here, because it's going to hit this belt, this bar for this threading gear. And the same thing here, if I try to come across the top right there to this smaller side to over here, I'm hitting the top. If I come here, I'm still hitting it. So this was a great concept. I was going to, the other thing that I was trying to worry about was this drive gear right here that goes down to the motor, and I was going to mount the motor in the back here. I just thought I'd show a side view, because I know the view you had, you couldn't really see what was going on there, but now you still can't see that. Maybe I'll carry it around to the back side so you can see, but at least now you get an idea of what this was all about. You know, once these nuts got welded in there, then that could go in and out. I could, you know, square it up, true it up, get the belt run right, whatever. Didn't work. All right, let's go around the back and look. All right, now you can see. This is what I was talking about before. This is part of the old stuff right here. Has a piece of angle iron that's bolted to the base itself, whatever, I can't remember, whatever. And then this piece of angle iron here is bolted on. That would enable all that to come off. This is what I had out when I calculated this, and I had it in my head that where I was right here, that if I came back just another inch that I would clear it, but that's not going to be the case at all. So all this was for naught. We're going to tear it all down, start over. So to get my clearance for this and that and that and that and that, this is what it's turned out to be. So basically I have spent 3 days calculating and fabricating and refabricating to find out that I'm going to fabricate again. I wasn't going to put this up, but I figured I might as well. It's been a little bit since I put up a video. I just finally got the welder home this week, so I wanted to get started on it. Some of the stuff I had kind of fabricated at the other shop and messed around here and there, but it was kind of hard trying to get an idea here, then go there and fabricate, and then bring it back here to find out it didn't work, and back and forth. And so I figured I'd go ahead and put this up, and it's a fail. But you know what? We'll get it. I think I found a way to salvage it. So far, I've not had to make any new parts, just refabricate the pieces that I already had. So, I think it's going to work. Okay, originally when this was up higher, I had these pieces here. That's 1/4 inch. I think that's 1.5 inches, 2 inch. It's 1/4 inch thick, 2 inch angle iron. And I had those bolted down there, and the riser came up on the back side of it right there, and I was just going to weld that to it. So now I've dropped this whole thing down, which in the end I'm going to like the way it looks a whole lot better than the way I had it. So now I've got this fit up underneath here. I'll drill a new hole in that, and we'll just weld that to that right there. And I'll weld that bottom to that angle iron back there, and then I will end up putting a cross brace in here for support. And that'll leave these two pieces individual, so I can get the adjustment where I want. I think it's going to work out better in the long run. So the fail is turned out to be for the best, actually. I like the way it looks better with this down, and it's not going to have as much leverage required because it's going to be lower profiled. So I think it's all in all going to look a whole lot better. It's going to be a lot tighter, a lot more compact, not as big and bulky, which is what I was after to begin with. I get people telling me they don't think I can weld at all. Not too shabby. Doing what I'm doing is going to make me have to leave that bolt in there, because you won't be able to get it in here unless I do something different here. Alright, well, after that fail, I've dropped this down 5 inches, got the brackets made. It's bolted down here. I mean, it's all got to come back off, but it's bolted down right there right now. I can rock the whole lathe. This side I didn't bolt down completely, but I just stuck some tape on there just to see. I've got it running dead in the middle of the pulley, down on the bottom below the threading gear rod. I've got about a 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch right there. If I push this out a little bit, like I said, I've got about 5 inches, 4 or 5 inches of push. I push this out a little bit. I'm not sure whether that makes it better or worse, but before I make the belt up, I will determine that. I did run it over here, and it's going to work. So now it's just a matter of figuring out how I want to mount this motor, making this plate, what I want to reinforce, what I don't. I was going to put a cross piece in the back here, but I don't see the need in it. Alright, well, I lowered this by 5 inches. I redid the brackets here, so the only thing I actually had to do is just cut and refabricate what I had. I didn't have to make any new pieces whatsoever. So this is bolted down solid here. I don't have it welded down in the back here just yet. This side is just snug. It's not tight. But I did play with the adjustment in and out, and I stuck a piece of tape on there, and I've got it to where I can keep it running in the middle of the pulley on both the front and the back. And where the threading gear rod is back here, right underneath it, I have about a 1/2 inch, 5/16 or 5/16, 5/8, something like that. I have about 4.5 inches I can come out. I'm not sure if that makes it better, makes it worse. I'm not sure, but I can live with that. So now I just need to figure out the mount for the back here and get this motor mounted and figure out what belt and all that. I still have to get a pulley for that 5 horsepower motor. And we'll go from there. I was going to put a support piece across in between these uprights in the back here, but I think I'm just going to put a solid plate back there for mounting that motor and just slot out some holes so I have a little bit of adjustment there. And I will more than likely put a tensioner pulley on here so I can just get the motor mounted pretty close to where it needs to be, and then that way I'm not stuck with one specific drive belt. The only thing I don't like about this whole setup is I was going to run 2 of these because there was 2 on there, but I'm hoping I can get by with just one. We'll have to see. Once I get this thing up and running, I may decide to just go ahead and make me a pulley like these pulleys to put on that 5 horsepower and put the 5 horsepower underneath and drive it straight here and do away with all this. I don't know yet. But anyway, the fail has been salvaged, and onward and upward.